A few weeks ago, I did a video on the 7 worst footballers on over £100,000 a week, and lots of people asked us to flip it on its head and do the best players on under a certain weekly wage. The only problem was, there didn't seem to be much of a consensus on what that amount ought to be. As such, I stuck up a poll on Twitter and £25,000 reigned supreme, so that's the figure we're going to be working with today. Obviously, if this video is a roaring success, we may well do videos for £50,000 or £100,000 a week in the future. And if you'd like to have your say on similar polls and see me share some of the stupidest comments we get, you can follow me on Twitter simply at HITC Sevens. Okay, without further ado, here are our 7 best footballers on less than £25,000 a week. Eder Militao. A man who recently featured in our look at 7 players who have already signed off on transfers for the summer, one suspects Eder Militao will be on far in excess of £25,000 a week when he officially signs for Real Madrid, but right now he is eligible for this 7. A powerful and technical centre-back who can also play on the right of a back 4 or in holding midfield, Militao is coming to the end of his first season in European football. In less than 9 months in Europe with Porto though, the young Brazilian has done enough to convince Real Madrid that he's worth €45 million. A virtual ever-present for the Primeira Liga title challengers, Militao has registered 42 appearances so far this season, and he has been named as the best defender in Liga NOS for 4 separate months. Reportedly earning just under £15,000 a week right now, the 21-year-old Brazilian is our first inclusion in this 7. Everton. Everton Sousa Soares, better known simply as Everton, is another player featured on this channel not long ago. That was in our video on the 7 best footballers currently playing outside of Europe and China, and Everton is the only non-European based player in this 7 today. A quick and skillful wide man, Everton didn't explode onto the scene as a teenager like so many talented Brazilians, and he never even represented Brazil at any youth level. That's probably why he is still playing in Brazil at the age of 23 and hasn't been snapped up by one of Europe's big boys, but he is a full Brazilian international now and the most talented player in the Campeonato Paulista as far as we're concerned. There are far worse players than him earning in excess of £100,000 a week in the Premier League, yet Everton has to scrape by on a reported £14,000 a week. Joking aside, that is a very small wage in relation to his talents and he thoroughly deserves a place in this 7. Alex Telles. Making it 3 consecutive Brazilians in this 7, I assure you Alex Telles is the 3rd and last Brazilian in this 7. A teammate of Militao's with both Porto and the Brazilian national team, Telles is one of the best left backs in the world. His opportunities with the national team have been limited, aged 25, by the prevalence of exceptional Brazilian left backs, such as Marcelo, Alexandro and Felipe Luis, but Telles has built an impressive reputation for himself in Portugal. An attack-minded left back who manages to run rampage down the left flank without often getting caught out of position, Telles is a fantastic crosser of a football. From Brazil to Turkey and now in Portugal, Telles has looked a class act wherever he has played. He was Porto's Player of the Year for 2018 and as one of the best left backs around and on a reported £22,000 a week, one would think the club would do well to keep hold of him for much longer. Joao Felix. Staying in Portugal in 4th place, I think Joao Felix had only scored 5 or 6 goals when we included him in our 7 best teenagers in world football video back in March. Since then, he's exploded into life at Benfica with 6 goals in his last 4 games, including a hat-trick against Eintracht Frankfurt in the Europa League. And you'd now do well to find a football fan who didn't have Felix on their radar. This is the 19-year-old's first season in the Benfica first team, and it'd be fair to say he's taking it all in his stride pretty well. In addition to his 18 goals in 39 games, including 13 in 22 in the league, he has earned rave reviews for his confidence and flair with the ball at his feet. He has been linked with the likes of Liverpool and Manchester United, and in the current market, you could hardly blame Benfica for slapping a £100 million asking price on his head. The teenager is currently said to be earning just £4,000 a week, which is still considerably more than I made at 19 in all fairness. Luka Jovic. In that game that Joao Felix bagged a hat-trick for Benfica against Eintracht Frankfurt, he wasn't the only talented young forward to get themselves on the score sheet. At the other end of the pitch, Luka Jovic bagged his 25th goal of the season in what was just his 38th game. The fact that 17 of those goals have come in the league means Jovic is second only to Robert Lewandowski in the Bundesliga scoring charts, having been one of the cornerstones of a fantastic front three that have been thrilling Frankfurt fans all season. Jovic was actually a former teammate of Felix's in the Benfica B team, and he initially joined Frankfurt on loan last season. Following a decent enough season from the 20-year-old, Frankfurt made the deal a permanent one for €7 million last summer, and boy has Jovic repaid their faith in him. A born goal-getter who already plays with the movement and intelligence of a veteran, he's proved a nightmare to try and stop in Germany this season. Still only 21, Jovic's current deal supposedly sees him pick up £7,000 a week, but with seemingly every large football club in the Western Hemisphere eyeing him up this summer with a reported £40 million asking price hanging over him, it seems unlikely he'll be on less than £25,000 a week for long. Matthijs de Ligt. Into second place in this 7, and it's time to talk about Ajax. 5 or 6 of their players could have made this 7, although the likes of Dusan Tadic and Hakim Ziyech aren't among them, since they are said to earn in excess of £25,000 a week, in case you were wondering where they were. Being as our runner-up is Matthijs de Ligt. Undoubtedly the finest young centre-back in world football, and for our money the best teenager too, de Ligt has proved his class on the European stage this season, having already won many plaudits in the Eredivisie over the previous 2 campaigns. De Ligt plays with such maturity at the back for a 19-year-old, and he became both Ajax and the Champions League's youngest ever captain at the age of 18 and 19 respectively. A really assured centre-back who is sharp and precise in the tackle, de Ligt plays with all of the swagger and verve you'd expect of a ball-playing centre-half who has come through the ranks at Ajax. A reported current salary of £14,000 a week means de Ligt has to feature here. The honourable mentions. As is so often the case, there are far too many players worthy of an honourable mention for us to ever do an adequate job here. I'll take a crack though, starting with perhaps the most high profile and most surprising player, said to be on under £25,000 a week, Zlatan Ibrahimovic. The former AC Milan and PSG star has taken the MLS by storm since signing for LA Galaxy, and whilst his playing salary may well be under £25,000 a week, one suspects it will be greatly supplemented by endorsement deals and the like. In the Premier League, we should mention Bournemouth midfielder David Brooks, who looks like a really classy operator. Confident on the ball, really positive, and always looking to create opportunities, the Welshman has had an excellent debut campaign under Eddie Howe. Manchester City's Alexander Zinchenko is another player who supposedly fits the bill. Primarily an attacking midfielder, Zinchenko has spent much of this season covering for Benjamin Mendy at left back, and barring a few wobbles in the recent Manchester derby, I think he's looked very impressive there. Eder Militao's centre-back partner and compatriot Felipe was unfortunate to miss out, whilst 2 of his teammates did not. Another Brazilian, Grêmio star Luan, is someone who we've talked about a fair bit in the past. A gifted footballer who's great to watch, Luan has stuck around in the Campeonato Paulista at the age of 26. From a couple of Brazilians to a former Brazilian turned Ukrainian international, Shakhtar Donetsk star Marlos is arguably the best player in the Ukraine, and he came close to featuring. Elsewhere, we could mention the likes of Walter Kahneman, Benjamin Pavard, Philip Max, Alban Lafont, Kieran Tierney, and Leander Dendoncker. That's it for our honourable mentions. Go ahead and subscribe to HITC Sevens if you're a fan of the channel, and here is your top spot. Frenkie de Jong. There's obviously a bit of a love-in with Ajax at the moment, following the club's heroic run to the semi-finals of the Champions League, although I am recording this prior to their first leg with Tottenham, so it could all have come crashing down if they've been thrashed 5-0. However, our love-in with Frenkie de Jong runs a little bit deeper than this impressive cup run. Anyone who is a footballing purist just has to sit back and admire the way Frenkie de Jong is playing the game at such a young age. He looks to have no fear, always willing to receive the ball, take players on, and attempt a risky pass. Such positive players are an invaluable asset to any team, and that's why de Jong is the driving force in this fantastic young Ajax side. He'll be sorely missed when he departs for Barcelona, but what an addition for Ernesto Valverde's side. I have no idea what the 21-year-old is likely to earn at the Camp Nou, but he supposedly picks up just £15,000 a week right now, so for us, he has to top this 7. So that's it for our 7. Thanks for watching, feel free to subscribe and turn on notifications for more from us if you enjoyed the video, and you can now also follow us on Twitter for more ramblings from me. Our username is simply at HITC Sevens.